SpaceX moved the most flight-ready of its Starship rockets, Ship 24, to a launch site in South Texas on Saturday. While a launch is not imminent this week, it could take place as early as April 10, sources said. On April 1, Elon Musk tweeted and said, "The Starship first orbital launch is more than days away, but hopefully not many weeks away." A few days earlier, marine notices for SpaceX Starship orbital flight test have been published. Possible launch date of SpaceX Starship first orbital launch debut is take place on between the 10th of April to the 12th of April according to notice issued by Marine. Earlier this week, the company lifted the massive, super heavy, first stage of its launch system onto a launch mount at the pad. The next step will involve lifting the Starship upper stage into place, atop the first stage. While these vehicles have been previously stacked for testing, this should be the final time they are positioned on the launch pad, before lifting off. In recent weeks, technicians have added shielding to protect the launch mount and tower from the extreme heating from the launch of Super Heavy, which is powered by 33 Raptor engines. The launch vehicle will have about double the thrust of the two most powerful rockets ever to reach orbit, NASA's Saturn V and Space Launch System rockets. With this work largely completed, the focus now turns toward the final significant hurdle, standing between SpaceX's massive rocket and a launch attempt, a license from the Federal Aviation Administration. While such regulatory matters are uncertain, a source said good progress is being made toward the issuance of such a license during the first 2 weeks of April. It also appears that, tentatively, NASA is reserving the use of its high-altitude, WB-57 aircraft for observations of the Starship test flight, on April 10 and 11. The agency is closely tracking SpaceX's progress with the massive rocket, as it intends to use the Starship vehicle as a lunar lander, for its astronauts as part of the Artemis moon missions. A long time coming. SpaceX previously completed a hot fire test of the Super Heavy first stage in early February. At the time, 31 of the rocket's 33 engines ignited and burned as intended. SpaceX determined that its engineers had obtained enough data from the test to proceed toward a launch attempt. After that, the booster and upper stage were removed to facilitate work on the launch mount. After it launches, the Super Heavy rocket will fly from SpaceX's Starbase launch site eastward, over the Gulf of Mexico. For this test, the booster will not attempt a landing. After stage separation, the Starship upper vehicle is intended to reach orbital velocity, before attempting a re-entry into Earth's atmosphere over the Pacific Ocean. If all goes well, it will make a controlled descent and landing into the ocean, just north of the Hawaiian Islands. After a rapid-fire test campaign in 2020 and 2021 of launching Starship prototypes, the company has moved more cautiously at its development and test facility in South Texas. This is because the company has likely invested more than $1 billion in a massive launch and catch tower to support Starship and Super Heavy, as well as ground systems to support fueling of the massive vehicles. Because so many assets are clustered in a small area near the Gulf of Mexico, SpaceX really does not want to take the risk of destroying infrastructure it has spent more than a year building and testing. This would set the Starship launch campaign back months, at least, as the area is rebuilt. It would also probably redouble regulatory concern that were raised as part of the Federal Aviation Administration's process to clear the South Texas location for experimental orbital launches. Let's talk about SpaceX upgrade on their Ship 24 before first orbital launch. The thermal protection system tiles that cover the crane attached points are one of the only items that are still missing from Ship 24. At least as far as we can tell, and SpaceX this week installed more of them. You can see the workers installing those tiles here, and this view gives you a good idea of how big and indeed thick they are. These tiles are as one worker sets another tile on the ship. One thing that is slightly disturbing about Ship 24's tiles is their lumpy distribution, for lack of a better phrase. I'm curious how this heat shield will do against the forces of re-entry. At the start of the week, SpaceX had nearly completed the work with Ship 24, with only a few tiles remaining in the single digits. We'll talk more about the final tile work later in the film and next door to the rocket garden. Crews also worked on a higher ship stand to provide greater access to the Raptor vacuum engine. The taller stand could be the future standard for ships, since it makes engine installation easier. Especially for RVAC engines, which have a significantly larger nozzle than sea-level Raptors. It's easy to envision removing or installing Raptors in a restricted space being a pain in the buttocks. Let's now walk a few hundred feet over at the manufacturing site, to the location of the former scrap yard, where SpaceX is putting on a new structure that could wind up being a new mega bay. SpaceX continues to drill pilings for the new foundation, laying the groundwork for the next major building to be built at Starbase. The Starship project is the embodiment of this vision. For Elon Musk, the first orbital flight of Starship is critical. It will be the first time the rocket is tested in an environment similar to the one it will experience on a mission to Mars. The success of this flight will prove that the rocket is capable of carrying humans and cargo to space and back safely. Moreover, SpaceX has invested a significant amount of money and resources into the development of the Starship. The first orbital flight will be the culmination of years of hard work and dedication. A successful flight will be a significant milestone for the company, and it will cement SpaceX's position as a leader in the space industry. The first Starship orbital flight tests the performance of the rocket's engines and other systems during launch. Once in orbit, the Starship will need to perform various maneuvers, such as adjusting its trajectory and speed, in order to perform its mission. The first orbital flight will test the Starship's maneuverability in space, and provide data on how well it performs in this environment. The Starship's ability to perform a controlled re-entry and landing is crucial for its reusability. The first orbital flight will provide data on how well the Starship performs during re-entry and landing, including how well it handles the heat generated during re-entry. During re-entry, the Starship's heat shield will be tested to see how well it performs in protecting the rocket and its contents from the intense heat generated during re-entry. The flight will provide valuable data on the performance of the heat shield, which will be used to improve it for future missions. The Starship's fuel efficiency is critical for its ability to carry humans and cargo to space and back. The first orbital flight will provide data on the Starship's fuel efficiency during launch, orbit, and re-entry, which will be used to optimize its performance for future missions. Clearly, this flight is considered to be a huge new development step for the company. The orbital flight is the first time that SpaceX has produced a full-size prototype, with two integrated parts together. Starship and Super Heavy will be nearly 120 meters tall, when stacked for launch. It's the largest monster on the planet ever built, simultaneously with this mission. Unlike the flight test, the altitude is only about 10 kilometers above sea level at current. Land Ship 24 and Super Heavy Booster 7 will make the longest flight ever. It will fly out of Earth's orbit, flying 3/4 of the way around the Earth. Because this is the longest flight, the flight time is the longest as well. This is a flight that's considered a new leap for SpaceX. Second, the Starship's first orbital test flight, though audacious in scale. SpaceX intends to collect as much data as possible during flight to quantify entry dynamics and better understand what the vehicle experiences in a flight regime, and that's extremely difficult to accurately predict or replicate computationally.